linked to Ms. Dapaah and her associates. And then they proceeded to say the investigation has identified strong indications of suspected money laundering and structuring. And then, of course, they acknowledged their inability to investigate money laundering by virtue of the law that they're operating with. But they concluded significantly, laying basis again for the investigation into money laundering. It's concluded a portion of the inquiry was entrusted to the FBI due to allegations suggesting involvement of transfer of funds from the United States. So I think that this clearly settles the issue that insofar as the funds located in Madame Cecilia Dapaah's house were concerned, insofar as even lodgements into her account locally were concerned, and insofar as the sums that were seized by the OSP were concerned. There was clearly no direct or immediate evidence of corruption, and that is not me stating this. This is the Special Prosecutor himself, clearing Madame Cecilia Dapaah. So the record must reflect the point that the OSP properly seized with the jurisdiction to investigate, or seized with the mandate to investigate corruption and corruption-related offences, after conducting an elaborate inquiry, cleared Madame Cecilia Dapaah of corruption as the OSP. So why is the CD now trying to suggest that the Attorney General now has cleared anybody of corruption? EOCO never investigated for corruption. The Attorney General has never investigated for corruption. It is the OSP itself which conducted 7 months of extensive investigations into it and 4 months of what it describes as collaborative investigations with the FBI and came to that conclusion.
All right.
And I'm saying that, so the public must understand clearly that the OSP only gave a narrow remit to EOCO to investigate for money laundering in respect of the funds that were allegedly transferred into the country.
If I may ask, if I may ask a couple of questions for direct answers, as brief as you can.
Yes.
The CDD says this was too early in the day for EOCO to be coming to you for directions. Is that what you do in the normal course? Is that what EOCO does and other agencies that are under you do in the normal course when they are seized with a matter to investigate? That very early in the day, they bring it to you and say, show us a way? So,
first and foremost, it must be placed on record that there's no time frame within which an investigative authority can seek the counsel or advice of the Attorney General. Indeed, even the recent train accident, the importation of the trains into the country, I mean, during the test exercise conducted on the trains, and the accident that occurred, just within a week after the man had been sent to court, CID brought the docket to the Attorney General for advice. so really, there's no time for that.
Number two.
EOCO did not. No, hold on. EOCO did not refer to us immediately upon receipt of the docket from the US. EOCO actually conducted its review and prepared a full report on it.
Why a review? Why a review instead of investigations? Because this is the area. This is the area the OSP had not done and required the EOCO to investigate. So why a review?
Okay, so we'll come to why. So firstly, the investigation by EOCO will include an assessment of the docket. So I understand the referral by OSP itself to essentially mean a complaint of money laundering. Well, indeed, EOCO had never been seized with the matter. EOCO had never conducted investigations into the matter at all. The only time EOCO came into the matter was when the OSP invited the EOCO to investigate this issue. So that essentially would suggest, I mean, loosely called, that it is a complaint by the OSP. Now, the OSP presented documents in support of that a complaint or referral. EOCO definitely owed a duty to scrutinize the entire docket, which they did. They examined everything on the docket, including statements that had been taken of Madame Cecilia Dapaah and her husband and other people, including even some journalists. They also investigated bank statements on all the accounts owned not only by Madame Cecilia Dapaah, but other persons associated with her, including her husband and all. They also investigated all contracts. In fact, it is very important to note that the OSP itself, in exercise of its mandate, which related not only to the bare offense of corruption, but which includes procurement breaches, proceeded to investigate all contracts that had been signed by Madame Cecilia Dapaah in her capacity as Minister for Sanitation.
So, do I hear you?
There was not a single breach of procurement procedures. There was not a single breach of.
Do I hear you say?
Any criminal violation?
Do I hear you? Do I hear you say your advice was on the back of EOCO's investigations and not what OSP had done?
Everything, because EOCO did not just present their report to us for advice. EOCO presented the entire docket on the Cecilia Dapaah matter, which had been delivered by the OSP to EOCO. And EOCO presented those documents together with their review report to the Attorney General to advise on the way forward.
Right. So the point is that, the substantive point you are making is that EOCO did its job in investigating money laundering and found nothing. Yes, and found no basis for proceeding. And that is why the EOCO stated in their letter to us that upon a review of the docket and upon preparation of their report, they find no basis to posit an allegation of money laundering. And because of the sensitive nature of the matter, we go back to upon a review of the docket rather than upon their investigations.
So that investigation again included an inquiry of the Special Prosecutor. And if you look at the letter we wrote, we alluded to a letter written by EOCO on 1st February 2025. That was long before EOCO presented the docket to us, asking the Special Prosecutor to present to EOCO its findings on money laundering. Because indeed, the Special Prosecutor stated clearly that the money laundering allegations were in respect of transfers from other jurisdictions into the jurisdiction of Ghana. And that is pursuant to the collaborative investigation that allegedly the office had carried out with the FBI. And clearly, so EOCO reasonably would be entitled to the findings of that exercise.
So if your advice,
EOCO requested for a copy of that report from the Special Prosecutor. To date, the Special Prosecutor has not finished EOCO.
So if your advice is based on the EOCO's investigations, why do you say that the OSP's referral was without basis for money laundering? Because
OSP alluded to collaborative investigations with the FBI, based on which it came by transfers from other jurisdictions into Ghana. So the OSP in its investigations had noticed some transfers of money from the United States of America into Ghana, not from Ghana to the US. And that clearly will require a proper statement of that record. So EOCO, in pursuance of that, wrote to the OSP asking for a copy of that report. EOCO did not receive any reply. To date, it has not received any reply. And that was way back on 1st February. And today, as I speak to you, it's 4th May, is it not? And that's 3 months.
Let me read this portion of your advice under the hand of Evelyn D. Kilson, Chief State Attorney. Even though, as part of your mandate, you could commence investigations into the sources of the money found in the home of the suspect, we do not find this necessary. Please, do you hear what you said?
Yeah. And there's a reason why we say we do not find it necessary. Because
that says the EOCO did no investigations.
No, I'm saying
because you actually say that wasn't necessary.
You don't take something. I think that it's so trite that you cannot take just one line out of a 3-page letter and conclude in that manner, especially when the letter began with an acknowledgement of the work that had been done by EOCO, the report that had been prepared on the matter by EOCO, and now examination of that report together with other documents on the docket. And I'm saying that line is actually, there's a reason. If we read a full, if we read a line in
the next part of that line,
it will state that
the next part of that line is that you had instructed the police service, who are already seized with other aspects of the case to investigate the sources of the huge sums of money found in the home of the suspect, a fact the
Precisely.
OSP is aware of.
Precisely, and that's the very first thing we do in money laundering.
So EOCO, you are saying that EOCO has come to an end in an investigation, finding there's no money laundering. Is it your expectation that the police will continue with on your instructions that they should investigate money laundering?
I'm saying that two things arise out of that sentence that you read. Number one is the point that, indeed, the CID of the Ghana Police Service had way back last year been directed by the Attorney General to investigate the sources of the funds and other matters connected therewith. And the OSP itself was in our way. If